thank you, Brother Jay DeLay, for that awesome, befitting, beautiful, and excellent introduction of your brother. I owe you big for that one, my brother. Thank you. All right, let's get started. So I know that many of you have been anxiously awaiting NYAPP or not, your average prison podcast, because you want to see just what is this podcast is about. You want to see what is on your brother's heart and mind. You want to know what your brother's desires for the members, particularly the members of our incarcerated and formerly incarcerated family. So let's get into it. Our aim and our goal, our mission statement, even uh, is to produce a work among the members of our incarcerated and formerly incarcerated family that transforms their lives into one that both says and demonstrates no to recidivism and incarceration. We, of course, aim to achieve this objective through the permanent displacement of self-defeating and counterproductive thoughts and behaviors. Now, this formula has been tried and tested and implemented by the founder and creator of NYAPP and expanded into a 12-point value and principle and belief system that represents a complete and the best and most effective call to action, including the 12 departments, or rather the creation of 12 departments and or divisions that cover the full spectrum of guidance, training, and service to men and women whose former and current lifestyles have given rise to this remarkable program and organization, and now podcast, which has as its ultimate design to make full use of our gifts and our talents. NYAPP is a game-changing network of men, women, and children from among the members of our incarcerated and formerly incarcerated family who are committed to the highest aims, goals, and objectives known to men and women, which is the pursuit of happiness and freedom and the maintenance of that prosperity and freedom. So now let's get into it. Many have asked, why, Brother Cam, have you decided to do this podcast, and why have you decided to name this podcast NYAPP or not, your average prison podcast? I have done so for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons is because there are literally tens of thousands of us who are just having a difficult time getting our lives together, getting our footings, if you will, or our 10 toes down on the ground here in society. And we have just really yet to get ourselves and get our lives together. Many of us have been out for 5, 10, and 15 years, and we have just, for whatever the reason is, and we're going to unpack those reasons because they are many, as to why we just have not been able to get our footing together. And I'm telling you, NYAPP, or Not Your Average Prison Podcast, I stand behind the idea of Not Your Average Prison Podcast. I stand behind it And as I said earlier, this formula for producing a work that will transform our lives, this is a formula. Uh, and it has, again, been tried and tested uh, by your brother and proven to generate success. And success for those of us who are the members of our incarcerated and formerly incarcerated family, for success for us, at the very least, is getting out of prison and staying out of prison. Now, if this were your average prison podcast, we would only be concerned with getting you out of prison and keeping you out of prison. An average prison podcast could be expected to just deliver that. However, your brother has been blessed to conceive an idea of producing a prison podcast that is not your average, meaning it is, by all accounts, and we will unpack this, it is considered by all accounts to be above average. Now, at the foundation of why this podcast must be considered and understood as being above average is because the desire is not to just have you sit passively on the receiving end of my voice, but rather this platform, again, is designed to call you to the action that you know in your heart and minds you need to be about, not just post-incarceration or after you get out of prison, but while you are in prison. That's the best time to prepare to get out of prison, not once you get out of prison to now all of a sudden produce this desire to want to stay out of prison. But NYAPP, along with OPRP, along with NRI, all of these wheels are turning to work diligently with our constituents. Hopefully, years before you and I, or years before you disembark that which we call and consider the halls of confinement, which are also considered and must be considered the halls of higher learning. Many of us, I'm telling you, brothers, many of us, brothers and sisters, did not get our lives together until we were blessed to go to prison. Now, that may sound like an oxymoron. How can somebody be blessed to go to prison? Well, those of us who are from among the members of our incarcerated and formerly incarcerated family certainly understand why being allowed to go to prison must be considered, among other things, a blessing and an opportunity which we would have never taken advantage of while we were in society. And the proof is in the pudding. You wouldn't have gone to prison or wouldn't have had to go to prison if we had decided to get our lives together. But many of us, we went to prison and we didn't do time, but we certainly allowed time to serve us. So why again, Brother Charles, Brother Cam, have you allowed, or why have you produced the podcast, and why did you name it Not Your Average Prison Podcast? Because there are many podcasts on the scene today, and I have listened to 15 to 20 of these podcasts, and I actually thought I needed to listen to more, but after listening to about 10 to 15, actually after my 10th uh, prison podcast that I listened to, and I spent many, many, many hours because I wanted to be able to honestly uh, and very broadly critique these prison podcasts, or these podcasts that have prison content. And many of them, at best, are average. Most of them are not even average. Most of them are beneath average because none of them represent a call to action, and they are only designed, now they give good advice, so forth and so on. I won't deny them that due respect. Many of them give good advice, but none of them are involved in a work that is designed to stem and eventually eliminate the stem of recidivism and the rising tide, of recidivism and incarceration. Many of them are not equipped or designed to meet with you in person. I don't care what city or what state you're in. Those of us here at NYAPP, Not Your Average Prison Podcast, are ready and prepared to begin meeting with you and I to discuss and implement into our lives that which will allow us to both say and demonstrate no to recidivism and incarceration. So I want you to stay tuned. I'm not going to attempt to unpack uh, much of what I have, because in truth, it would take me some 40 years to unpack what it is that I have been blessed to know, understand, and implement in my own life. It would take some 40 years to do that. So I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, meaning I'm going to be with you week after week, month after month, year after year, and decade after decade, until we have completely, thoroughly, and totally eliminated or eliminate being recidivist, being a recidivist, or being subject or threatened, or have the return of prison hovering over our heads because of the lifestyle that we have yet to choose. Excuse me a second. Okay, I would get off camera in order to blow my nose, but I'm going to keep it real with you. I'm going to keep it real with you. I don't put on no airs. Not here to present myself to be more than what I am. I'm here to present to you, as I mentioned earlier in the introduction, service and guidance and instruction that represents the most effective call to action. So why, again, Brother Cam, a podcast? Why do a podcast, brother? I have chosen to do a podcast because there are literally tens of thousands of us, those whom I have affectionately considered to be my and our constituents. And because I know you, I have struggled with you, I have been oppressed with you and alongside of you. I've prayed with you. I've dreamt with you. I've worked with you. And some of you, I've even fought with you. But one of the things I came away knowing even after we have fought, physically that is that you and I have in common a common enemy. So an old military axiom is the enemy of my enemy becomes my friend. And in this case, the enemy of my enemy becomes my constituent and becomes my comrade. Because what you and I had and have in common is that there is a common enemy who never desires for us to be rehabilitated. There is a common enemy who really and truly never desires for us to ever get out of prison, because the prison industrial complex feeds so many and aligns the pockets of so many, so they could really care less. The enemy of you and I could really care less if we ever make it out of prison. Now let that sink in for a minute. One of the other reasons why, and there are so many, one of the other reasons why I started this podcast, because I got sick and tired of expecting everyone else to feel the way that I feel about this work of serving those whom I have rightly and affectionately called the members of our incarcerated and formerly incarcerated family. I reject the notion of a convict. I reject the notion of a felon, because nobody wants to support a convict. Nobody wants to support a felon. So I was moved to call us what we are rightfully, and that is family. We are members of our incarcerated and formerly incarcerated family. And everywhere that you go, every product that we produce, every symbol that we produce, you will see those two acronyms. The MICF, which stands for the members of our incarcerated family, and MFICF, which stands for the members of our formerly incarcerated family. We are one family. And in this case, regardless of our race, regardless of our language, regardless of our nationality, regardless of our other organizational affiliations, we are all family, and we all have at the very root of it the same goals, the same aims, and the same objectives, which is to get free and stay free, and then embrace the prosperity and the maintenance of that freedom. So this is the aim again and the goal of NYAPP. So I've also created a podcast because currently there is no collective call to action among the members of our incarcerated and formerly incarcerated family. As those of us who are formerly incarcerated, many of us are doing great works out here. But what is missing from our individual great works is our collective activity and our collective pooling of our talents and resources out here in society. So again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time today. I just wanted to give you sort of a wake-up call and to let your brother know, to let you know that your brother is now here, and the work, at least on this level, has officially begun. So at this time, I'm going to conclude, and I will hope that you tune in for our next episode, when we're going to discuss, rather we're going to outline, as I mentioned in the introduction, those 12 principles and beliefs that we as members of our incarcerated and formerly incarcerated family have embraced and are now putting into practice. And we're going to discuss those 12 departments or divisions in our next episode. So please stay tuned. I thank you very, very much for your time. I thank you so greatly for being with your brother during these last 20 something odd minutes. And again, we will see you hopefully at the next episode.